Hello YouTube, this is Mad Movie Mark with another Mad Movie Mark movie review, continuing to count down my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Just to recap so far, number 10 was Magnolia, number 9 was Amadeus, number 8 was Memento, and now number 7 is Paths of Glory. I forgot to mention this last time, but I now have 6 subscribers as of today, which is 6 more than I thought that I would ever have. So thank you, even if you've accidentally stumbled upon this YouTube review page while looking for Jim Cramer's Mad Money and you got Mad Movie Mark instead. I thank you for sticking with it and for subscribing. And if you're new and you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe. If you're new and you don't like what I'm doing, let me know what I can do. So we are doing number 7, which again is Paths of Glory. This was directed by Stanley Kubrick. It's one of his many war films. He was very young when he directed this. I think he was in his late 20s. He also did Doctor Strangelove, Full Metal Jacket, Barry Lyndon, which are also war movies. This movie is way ahead of its time. My era of movies that I love is around 50s and 60s, and this movie looks like it could have been done in the 70s, except that it's black and white, but it is fantastic. The way it's shot, the way it's acted, everything in this movie is great. It stars Kirk Douglas, who plays Colonel Dax, Adoophe Mejou, who plays General George Broulard, and George McCready, who plays General Paul Mireau. So we have a General George Broulard and General Paul Mireau. The movie opens with Broulard and Mireau talking in Mireau's living quarters, his house. It is a huge, lavish house, huge ballrooms. This place is gigantic. So they're sitting there having lunch, just exchanging conversations. When Broulard gets to the main point of this conversation, he says there's a strategic point that's located right by your army, and I want you guys to take it. It's called Ant Hill. Mireau says, Ant Hill, there's no possible way that we can take Ant Hill. My army's tired. We just fought other battles in which we had great losses. There's no way that this is just something that can't happen. It's too fortified. I will lose my entire army if I try to take Ant Hill. Broulard says, that's okay. I'm not going to try to force you to take it. I don't want to influence you in any way. If you don't think you can take it, you don't think you can take it, that's fine. It's a shame, though, because you are going to be suggested for a promotion and for a new star. And Ant Hill is just something they really want. And if you took it, then it would look really well for you. It would look really good for you. This is something that would look great on your resume if you could do it. So Mireau says, a new star? Well, my army is most important to me, of course. These people are like family to me. I would never jeopardize their lives unless it was absolutely necessary. But dadgummit, I think we can do it. So clearly he has his own motives. He is in this for himself. Um, and and this movie is all about loyalty, basically, versus humanity. I would say that is the underlining theme in this movie. We'll get to that later, but loyalty versus humanity. So he delivers this idea to Colonel Dax. Colonel Dax is the one who is in charge of this company of men. We need you to take Ant Hill. We need you to do it in 2 days. We can't provide you any backup. We can't provide you any artillery. This is just you guys out there. And Colonel Dax basically says, this is impossible. How much of my army do you think we'll lose? And they say 35% you will probably lose just charging the hill, and then another 25% to hold the hill. But you'll still come out with people. People will still be alive when it's over, so you'll be fine. Colonel Dax definitely expresses that he doesn't think this is a great idea. This is a suicide mission. There's really no point in trying this because it's not going to happen. in which case Mireau says, well, if you can't do it, then we're going to have to put you on leave. Like, I really need someone here who's going to fire up their army, who's going to tell them that this is possible, that they can do anything, and go in and do it, basically. So Colonel Dax, he wants to remain loyal. So he says, "Fine, we'll be fine. We can go do this." Then Moreau decides to go visit the actual fighter, the actual people in the army, to kind of get an idea of where they're at mentally. They are clearly tired, clearly distraught. They know this is a suicide mission. One of them is clearly has PTSD, or he's shell shocked. He rambles, talks about how he doesn't want to die, and then Miro tells him there's no such thing as shell shock. There's no such thing as PTSD. This is clearly an insubordinate soldier who doesn't want to fight. Get him out of my army. We don't need people like him. We need people who think that we can do this, who are excited, who are energetic, who know this is possible. So he sends him away, and then the next day they start the assault. It's supposed to be that there's two groups that are going to go, led by General Dax. He will go in with the first group, and then another group will follow, and they will just try to take it with sheer numbers. So General Dax leads his people valiantly into the fight, where a lot of them perish because this is a suicide mission, basically. The second company of men never go. They see that the first company of men get nowhere, that a lot of them die. They know that they're not going to be able to get anywhere, that this is just a suicide mission. A lot of them have families. A lot of them have people back home that they don't want to die. They they've fought in many battles before. These are courageous men. They've proven themselves. But all the other battles they fought before, there was a glimmer of hope. There's no hope here. So why go into battle? And again, it's the loyalty versus humanity. They do not feel a reason to be loyal, because it's not humane to just commit suicide here. And then you're left with less of an army going forward. So this really benefits no one. Colonel Dax, after his first company perishes, he runs back. He lives, he runs back. He tries to excite the men into going out, but he knows and they know that this is impossible. So he just calls a retreat, basically. They retreat. When they get back, actually, I missed a part of this. When Mireau sees that they are not fighting, that they are not pursuing, that they are not going forward, he wants to punish these people, because he says that they are starting to form a mutiny, that they are not listening to orders. An example needs to be made of them, so he orders his own side to fire artillery on his men. Basically, he's ordering his artillery kill his soldiers. The artillery people refuse. They say that in order for this to happen, they need it in writing, because this could just be the whim of a madman, to use wording from Speed. This is the whims of a madman, which it was. So they refuse. He gets upset. When they get back, Mireau talks to General Dax and says that there must be a court-martial. All 100 men who survived must be put on a firing squad. They must be made an example of, because this can't, going forward, we can't have people doing this. Colonel Dax is appalled by this, because everyone knows that this was a suicide mission. There was no way this was going to happen. These men have been courageous before. They live in these small bunkers, while the generals live in these lavish houses. The generals aren't the ones putting their lives at risk here. Colonel Dask really believes that there's no reason to try these people. They simply saw that they were going to die and didn't want to die. It's then agreed upon that instead of making an example of 100 people, they will make an example of just 3 of them. So they are asked to choose 3 people to be put on trial. Colonel Dax decides to represent them as a lawyer, as a counsel, to try to save them from the firing squad. And then at the end of the movie, I won't tell you if he's successful or not, but at the end of the movie, there is a scene where General Dax tells Broulard about Mireau wanting to fire on his own men. Broulard gets all of them into a room and says that you will be investigated for this, Mireau. There's going to be an inquiry. If you didn't do it, then everything's going to be fine. But if you did do it, you're going to face the consequences. And then Broulard, I'm having trouble with these names, I'm sorry. Broulard, after Mireau leaves, Broulard approaches General Dax and says, okay, now you can have Mireau's job. I know that's what you wanted this whole time. You had your own yourself. You were thinking of only yourself when you were doing this. And now that you've succeeded, the job is yours. Colonel Dax gets very upset because he's not in it for himself like everyone else is. Everyone in this movie who's in the upper echelon are in it for themselves. But he is not. He wants to go back with his men. He wants to be fighting alongside his men. That's where he belongs. This movie is about class systems. If you work at it's not the same, but you can get the feeling when you work at a job and you think that your managers or your bosses live this great life in extravagant houses, and you're the bottom fish feeder making nothing, the one who's out there doing all the work. That's kind of what this represents in a way, where these soldiers are expected to just do whatever is said, do whatever is asked of them, even if it means giving up their own lives for really nothing, giving up their own lives for something that's impossible. They are expected to do it anyway. Their lives mean little in the big picture of things, even though in this case the big picture was something that could never be accomplished. And it's really about the injustice of the system, of how 3 people who were just trying to save their own lives are being tried for cowardice, when in fact they have shown through many battles that they're not cowards, that they're just being made an example of. This is a perfect anti-war movie, I believe, perfectly acted. It's like I said, it's way ahead of its time. This is I would give this 9.5 out of 10. I don't know where that other half is, but it's easily a 9.5 or a 10 out of 10 for me. If you love war movies, if you love older war movies, black and white movies, if you love Kirk Douglas, if you love movies that talk about class systems, if you love movies that you can relate to in terms of being on the bottom of the heap, this is a movie that I would recommend. I think everyone should see it. It's a little known Stanley Kubrick movie, and it is a fantastic movie. And that is number 7 on my top 10 list of all time. I promised number 6 would be a little bit more lighthearted, and it will be. So when I end up doing number 6, it is going to be The Jerk starring Steve Martin. Thank you. Have a good day.